Great Cut. The Great Cut. The Longhairs present The Great Cut and so much more. Now the podcast with
Hello and welcome to the podcast with Jefferson Jay. I'll exclusively available here at thelonghairs.us. We are making the magic happen one moment at a time. I was so thrilled, so excited, so fired up for this opportunity that I couldn't help myself from doing what I do. I took my pen and my trusty notebook, as I have faithfully for 30 plus years, and I went out to my favorite tasting room, Kilowatt, in Ocean Beach, and I started mapping out what I might want to say, 8 or 10 segments, 10 or 12 minutes each. And then I wrote some advice to myself. Keep it real. Let it ride. And I wrote this statement, and I'm going to read it to you as only I can in my voice. I set up the whole thing I just did, that I introduced myself. I'm Jefferson. Hi. More about me later. We'll get more to me as I proceed, but I am here because I was the MC for the 2019 Great Cut. Set the Guinness World Record, the Longhairs did, for most hair raised for charity in one day. Over 339 pounds of hair for children with hair loss. The Great Cut 2019 was awesome. I was asked to MC it all day, which entailed being on stage for 12 hours while the leaders of the Longhairs, Lindsay and Chris, attended to everybody, and Lindsay shaved his hair bald. But more about him in a minute. I'm veering from my statement. Who comes up with an idea like this? Generous, compassionate, caring, selfless souls only. The Longhairs, President Lindsay Joe Bartow, our guest today, CEO Chris Healy, El Moreno and El Rubio, respectively, are close friends. Brothers, if you will, and I will. Family members that see that life as a family is not just their immediate circle, their blood relatives. This is why the Longhairs exist. They have a business, but that's not enough for them. There's also a community. And with that community comes the opportunity for more, for growth. More growth. This is all about more growth, and that's why I'm here. To help growth, my own growth, the Longhairs' growth, the community. The community grows from communication, from gathering, however we do it. But to do it physically, at least occasionally, is paramount. It's huge. It's where the magic takes place. And that's where this podcast starts, where its seeds are sown. On March 16, 2024, we did the Great Cut 2024. Why? Because they can. Because we can. I emceed again. Of course, it was amazing. It was a gift to gather, to grow. So in the wake and the specter of an incredible experience, the Great Cut 2024 and its large shadow that it created, we are born. We will grow and we will monitor growth. Growth of hair, certainly, but also growth of individuals, disciplines, audiences, relationships, personalities, and understanding. So, questions, comments, thoughts, feelings, opinions, ideas before we before we groove into it. That's my statement. I like my statement. And I'm going to add a couple more details to it. The Great Cut 2024 set records for soul lifting. It set records for long hair guys who just got all their hair cut off and had a smile that beamed brighter than the sun. It conquered every metric that can't be measured. And most of the most important metrics cannot be measured. Can we measure love? Who loves who the most? Who's the most in love? How can we measure? You can't, because it's ridiculous. Music awards, a nice way to gather the community, but an absurd idea that someone's music is better than someone else's and that somebody wins and somebody loses. The Great Cut is the kind of event where everybody wins. And the record they tried to break, as I already mentioned, was their own. But they shattered the 2019 level of good vibes and love and harmony. And that is what my interest is in this podcast. I've sat in the meetings with the guys in the Great Cut leading up to the event and since the event, and a lot of time in an attempt to make things as awesome as possible moving forward has been spent discussing things that could have been done better. Things that don't matter at all anymore, and things that I don't wish to entertain or discuss really at all on this podcast. Enough time and energy has been spent to make it better when it comes back around. 2030 is the rumor I'm hearing. But here, what happened was so special. It was like a gift on Hanukkah morning or Christmas morning or Kwanzaa afternoon. and you open it and you feel the glow of this thing that was given to you that shows someone's appreciation and that you can play with or wear or enjoy. But the moment, like the newness of the gift, fades over time. And it's not always as special to you as it was initially. And the point of this is to keep that special part alive and feed into it and keep that energy going so it doesn't like shut down for a few years and then we start to be like, okay, the great cut's coming again. I guess we ought to raise some hair and awareness and gather and organize, because we're going to keep it going by talking about the guys' growth of their hair. All the guys, Jose, Sean, and Chris and Lindsay all cut all their hair off. Some are pretty darn bald right now. Lindsay, who'll be up in just a few minutes, has a very nice haircut. We'll talk about hair. And one of the cool things that I want to do in the weeks moving forward, in addition to talking to them about their lives and growth as humans, is they've given great advice for years to long-haired fellows, perhaps like yourselves, about what it's like to have long hair and how to manage it and how to enjoy it, how to make it look nice. I have some friends who have no hair or barely any hair, and some great personalities, and I think it'll be a nice turnabout to bring them in and give some advice. Some of these folks I've spoken to are hip-hop, former Def Jam recording artist Wax, my buddy, Tim Clark, who's a Burning Man legend of the Foamy Homies, a force of nature. Just ran into my friend Michael McAfee, who owns Long Story, which is a bar here in town, and he talks like this. He was my announcer for the San Diego. I heard him go, I'd like a bagel and can I have a bagel and coffee? And I just lift up my head. I go, no, you can't. He's like 6'6". I won't speculate on how many pounds, but I do worry about him a little bit. Love the guy. So maybe he'll come on the podcast, and he always wears a hat. So I want to get the always wears a hat perspective guy given to some of my friends in the long hairs who may now consider being always wear hat guys. So I think that's going to wrap up our first segment. And now, before we go to our first guest, a word from our sponsors. Have you tried these things? They're unbelievable. Hair ties for guys from the long hairs. They're more than just a bunch of good dudes with big hearts. You know, they're more than just trying to fill up the pocketbooks or the wallets, if you will. For years and years, you go to the Rite Aid, the Walgreens, the CVS, and it's a highly dissatisfying experience. You buy some little ring thing that looks like something you might see at the end of a condom, but with a little metal thing in it. Can you imagine that metal thing on a condom? Well, that's what it feels like when you're putting those things in your hair for all these years. The pain is real. The quality is low. You're going to feel much better without that condom ring type thing squeezing around your vital area, which is in this case, obviously, your hair. This is one of my styles I like to do. I can sometimes do it like a little fatty little fluffer right there. Not much hair now. Trimmed it up to look nice on stage for the great cut, but it still makes me the longest hair, long hair. So that's pretty sweet. They have every different style you may already know. And one of the things I'm pretty stoked about is the long hairs community is so wonderful that it shouldn't just be for long-haired dudes. The long-haired dudes have reaped the benefits, but the love they've created, the world needs. So we'll get some of these baldish folks in here, and ultimately, I think even ladies, even moms and grandmas and little girls deserve the pleasure of quality product. Hair tie that doesn't rip or break or have a metal thing or ever you ever get balked in the teeth by one of those metal things somehow? Like I have, I can still feel it in my teeth. I don't know how I balked myself in the face with this thing you can watch. Watch this. See? Won't do anything. It's fine. It doesn't hurt. You're going to maybe stretch it out a little, and people might worry why you're doing that. But that's what these are for. Everything you could possibly think of. Thank you, long hairs. Okay, we're back with Long Hair's president, Lindsay Joe Bartow, recapping the Great Cut. What was it like for you, the Great Cut 2024? Tell us about it.
Oh, man, just what a day. Top day of my life outside of, marriage and kids' birthdays. I mean, honestly, this was right there. Just the energy, the love, the positivity, just the smiles, the joy. And the fact that all of these people not only are having that type of experience, but they're here to give up and be part of a cause greater than themselves. And I mean, that's what's creating the joy and all the feelings that we felt there. But like, I just really touched by how that atmosphere that's created and just all the long hairs being together is something magic. It's special. Kind of like, I think you were mentioning it in your intro.
Let's paint the picture a little bit for folks who maybe weren't there. So, what was the atmosphere like? How might you describe it to someone who wasn't there? We jump right to these incredible feelings that are hard to describe, but if you weren't there and you don't understand what it was, can you paint the picture for the people?
Yeah, so it's on a pier in downtown San Diego, which is right on the water. So you have boats and helicopters and just all the action of San Diego happening around you. The event itself is in this big building on the Broadway Pier. I don't know if they still call it the Port Pavilion, the actual building, but whatever. It's the Broadway Pier.
It's a big old building on a pier. The hornblower and the midway are right next to it.
You walk up to the front, you check in with your ticket that you got on your phone, or you printed it out, or you forgot it and they had to look your name up. And there was some
get a
hurdles
swag
up there.
bag.
I mean, if we want, how deep in details do we want to get?
I want to just paint a picture for the people of the good parts.
My perspective, or
first like a basic one, and then we're gonna get into your perspective. So there's a big stage. There's lots
so
of
you check
hair cutting chairs.
You walk down a little aisle right next to the bay, and you're cruising down. And from about 75 yards, you could see the stage. You could see the stage as you're walking in. You walk through these two white fences, and then you're in the party.
And
you're
it's a party.
at the Great Cut, and you have to walk all the way down the side of the building and get immediately ejected into the stage area. So
no one's ejecting you really, but you enter the stage area.
Yeah, through the portal.
Yes, you're ejected into live music fun.
Yeah, so right when you get there, you're hearing the music, and that's already setting the tone. Right from the get-go. You're seeing people all out there. You're seeing the food trucks. You're seeing...
Haircuts. There's haircuts and lines of people with hair down to their butt.
Talking on the mic, like, depending on what time you came in, it was either music, or you're listening to Jefferson, or you're seeing guys get their haircut on the stage.
Talking.
So,
people are connecting.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the real magic starts, is all the different connections. People coming from all over the country.
With the whole families is amazing.
And talking to other people and sharing this experience.
Yeah.
And everyone who is there, who is donating, is not only doing it for themselves, but they're doing it for the cause.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the cause.
Well, everything is benefiting children with hair loss. They're an amazing organization we work with for 7 years. They're near and dear, like family now. And it's a real partnership. And, we work to help each other. And this event is to raise hair and hopefully money to benefit children with hair loss. And that's that's the centerpiece of the purpose of the whole thing, is let's help these kids who have medically related hair loss.
And tell how the hair that's donated directly helps the kids. It's an awesome detail. I think does a lot. Makes it meaningful.
The premier sponsor there is John Moreno. They actually make the real hair replacements. They're called hair prosthetics, cool. Technically. They're really amazing quality and just craftsmanship. So all that hair from that event will go to John Moreno. They will actually take all that hair and make the hair replacements for the kids. These kids have alopecia. They're cancer, burn victims, a lot of different type of ailments that you could go through. And no matter what a kid is going through, as far as the health thing, that's already really tough and heartbreaking. And then imagine, losing all your hair as well, and your confidence has got to be low. And
can be, I'm sure.
So
they give each kid a free wig every single year.
Yeah, until they're 21.
And that's amazing.
If they need one, if a kid's like, hey, I want to do a brunette this time, or hey, my wig's kind of
getting beat up.
Yeah, I need a freshie.
Even my quality hair ties get beat up over a year, and high quality products with use get degraded.
No questions asked, free to the kid. And that's one thing. Children with hair loss, it really separates themselves amongst a lot of the other charities out there. Is they no questions asked, no charge, no money from the family.
I think that's a big part of one of the reasons that there's such a good feeling at the Great Cuts, because all these people are taking this wild move of cutting off all their hair, change their whole identity, their whole image. We're gonna talk to you about that in a minute, but they're doing it for kids.
Yeah,
and you can see and feel like the gift exchange and the energy in the room, and that's why we're doing it.
Something to point out too that not a lot of people think about, these John Renault hair prosthetics that they make. These aren't just like a wig you go buy at the store.
Sure.
With synthetic hair and like a weird net thing on it. Like
those things always get tangled too. Whenever I try to play with the hair on my wigs, they get tangled.
Yeah.
Is that creepy? I did that on purpose.
It's the cost of them is up to $3,000 to $5,000, depending on length and whatever. But like, they're not cheap. This is a pricey thing. But when you see a kid gain their confidence back, the joy, the smile, the juice it brings them when they get it and they put it on their head for the first time, it's just
a feeling.
That's the feeling, I think, that also is inspiring everybody. Yeah. Like the exchange of the gift is for that kid to have that feeling. And
the gifting of the gift, the giving is where the good feeling comes for the giver. If you're fortunate enough to be there when the receiving comes, then you get that too.
Yes,
but the giving, I think, is what makes people feel good.
Yeah,
unless you're like a small child, then you really are more into the receiving part. We have small children. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more with Lindsay Bartow. We're going to get personal after these words from our sponsor. Do you like trucks? Lindsay likes trucks. He drives a truck. His truck's big and strong, and don't mess with it, even if you're like a bear, because if you're a bear, you might do damage to the truck, but the truck's going to do damage to you, bear. So you just stay where you belong in bear area and leave the trucks the roads. That message is brought to you by the Truck Commission and People for Trucks. We're back with Lindsay Bartow. We are rolling the podcast with Jefferson Jay. Long hair style is amazing. God is good, or whoever you believe in is probably also good, unless it's Satan then. I don't know. Let's not go there, folks. Lindsay and I are back here. Can you please take off your hat? Because I want to see your short hair and let the beautiful lighting that I spent so much money on shine on your... How does it tell me you cut your hair for the second time at the Great Cut? The first time you went straight bald, your hair was your head was a frightening color because it hadn't seen the sun. And I was scared of you because I didn't know you yet. And you were playing into it and acting scary. And it was some of the best moments of Great Cut 2019 After Hours. But here we are. You've done this twice now. You're an expert of cutting your hair at the Great Cut. Your hair, how long was it? How long did it grow back in the 5 years between you cutting it again a couple weeks ago?
Well, I donated, I think, 18 inches, over 16 inches. So
that's a lot.
It was probably 20. I still got like 4 inches up there.
Okay.
4.
So how does it feel to do this the second time?
It's not honestly. It's nice to have a reset. Last time it was nice to have a reset. The joy of the Great Cut, all the feeling, all the stuff we're talking about, like it's over and it's kind of like cool. Now I'm like different too.
Yeah,
just in my appearance.
Growth.
Like, time to do a reset here. Let's look at everything we're doing, and let's take a look at how we're gonna grow from here on out.
Well, let's do that. You have 3 children.
Yeah.
What are their ages? You can say the names.
2, 4, 6. Jack, Sadie, Sienna, and yeah.
And still happily married.
Yeah, very.
Saw the family at the front row for your haircut, the Great Cut there.
Yeah.
So what's that like? What's it like for you with the new short hair and the Great Cut behind you and this growing young family?
Yeah.
How's life?
It's good, man. I mean, it's been busy last several months, really, just putting everything into that event and, all kinds of other stresses and pressures and everything of life. I have just accepted it all and just been like, it is my job to be as strong and as clear and as, anchor as I can be. And that's not easy,
No.
It takes a lot of work, and that goes into all the different aspects, like the business, the family, dad, you know, all the chambers you want to line up for your life. But specifically with the family, you know, I'm just so happy. Their support, they're so fun and funny, and the kids together, they're their own little like posse, and the age they're at right now is so fun. You know, but it's not easy. It's hard being a parent. And you know, I heard actually this is good. I watched this video on Instagram today. It kind of bothered me, but it was this guy who's like, I don't know who he was or whatever. He's some podcaster guy, but he's
podcaster guys. They're so awesome.
He's wearing this backwards hat, and he's like in his 40s, and he's talking about how not having kids is, you know, makes marriages stronger. And more people the people who don't have kids have better marriages and are happier people. And he's like trying to make this claim and saying like there's studies to prove it, whatever. Anyway, and it really got me, because I was like, you know what? That's such bullshit. First off, anybody who doesn't have kids, don't say what it's like to have kids, because you have no clue at all. You know, like, or say what life could be like. But at there is some truth there too. Having kids does make life more difficult.
Of course.
But that is the point of life, is to take on challenges, take on hard things. They make you grow. They make you better. Let's tie it back to the great cut.
Of course.
Do we need to do that?
No.
No.
Definitely
we don't. That's a choice. Let's put our whole business on the side and have to put everything on the line to make this event happen, and literally potentially could put ourselves out of business to pull this off. Is that the easy choice? No, that's a hard choice.
It's selfless, just like having a kid.
It's a hard choice, and it ties back. It's selfless. It's for the greater cause. It's for something bigger than yourself, which when you attack challenges like that, it makes you better.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I agree 100%. I mean, that's why we're here. I have a 4.5-year-old, so I don't have 3. I can't imagine what that would be like, but I also can relate to what you said about just needing to stay cool and not get all ups and downs with the emotions of it.
Yeah.
And the great cut, because of the risks you guys took, there's definitely some ups and downs and some emotions of it. And I liked you said about staying cool, but how are you doing with that specifically right now? Now it's been a couple of weeks. I know there was some highs and lows, and that's fine. How are you feeling about everything right now?
No, I'm super pumped. I'm stoked on our team. All the positives, like everything is, we're right where we need to be. You hear all these entrepreneurs or these business experts or whatever, they always say stuff like, you know, it's gonna get like crazy hard. Like you need to dig through, never quit. When it gets hard, never quit. And like, there is levels of hard.
Sure.
And we have, as a business, been experiencing, through our whole 10 years, have experienced all different kinds of levels of hard.
Levels of hard.
Yes. And when I look back at where we're at right now and everything we've accomplished and really the brand equity that we've built, our asset, like on the positive side, is so incredible. And you could argue, like, you know, we've done some amazing things as a business that is like, you know, you guys should have a valuation of whatever dollars, you know. Mm-hmm. But then there's the reality of business of like survival and hard times.
Hard times.
And yeah, this is what I'm getting at with the hard is like, you really get tested the more you continue to grow and learn in your business and try to continue to grow it. You really start to feel these, like what these guys are talking about, like what the real hard is. What you thought was hard 2 years ago, it was not.
Harder now. Yeah. 2 years ago, you only had 2 kids.
Yeah, that's true.
And no boys.
So anyway, it comes back to just the perseverance. Like, do you have what it takes? Are you going to win?
It takes a singing bowl.
Are you going to win? You're facing like these are the times where people quit. I mean, people quit all along the way, but there's badass people who quit during times of like what we're experiencing right this moment.
Winning is daily.
Yes.
Winning is not the final. Like the San Diego State Aztecs were spanked last night in the Sweet 16 and they were eliminated from the NCAA tournament. Are they losers? Did they blow it? Or did they have an incredible run, this group of young men that's going to build their character and change their lives? Same group of youngsters who went to the national championship game in last April. They're winning today, even though they lost yesterday, because they get up and do it again. Daily victories. Levels of hard.
Yeah.
And we'll be back after a word from our sponsor. Do you like music? Do you dig guitar? How about people? If so, I've got the series for you, folks. Acoustic Evenings at the Athenaeum with me, Jefferson Jay, is going off in La Jolla on Fridays. We have one tonight. I don't think you'll see this by tonight because it's not coming out, but the incredible and amazing Jamie Shadowlight is playing. I could talk about her for a year, but there's just not time. April 5th, this fine friend, Moreno, is playing, and Wax, who's part of my big plan for this, he is the man. You might already be his one of his many followers on the Instagram. He's playing a birthday show at the Athenaeum Music and Arts Library in La Jolla with Billy Gilwood and Monette Marino. And finally, great cut headliner. Look at this handsome bald fellow. Maybe he'll come on the show. Tim Flannery's playing with me. San Diego Padres legend, 3-time World Series third base coach. He gave Chris El Rubio Healy a replica World Series ring, a little cute World Series trophy at the Great Cut on stage. It was very emotional. So you can come see all these shows and see me in person, the real deal. Ally McBeal right here for you. Got the feels. Maybe not those ones. I don't know which ones I should try. I think I'll do wax on, wax off, because I kept just going to these moves that were not appropriate. I don't know why. I mean, speculate if you will. Anyway, Athenaeum Music and Arts Library is going off Friday nights and through April 12th. You're going to come check it out. See you. And we're back with Lindsay Joe Bartow talking about the Great Cut 2024. I have an incredible amount of respect and even maybe a slight bit of friend envy of you and Chris's connection. I do things, but I've always been left to do them alone. I got a million new records and this and that all these years, but I've never had a songwriting or a partner or business to do the things together. Like you and Chris, you have this special relationship, and I think that is one of the things that makes it so, so you could do such special things that are bigger than yourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how he's holding up after the Great Cut. His hair is super long. He's been rocking the long hair since a long time. It's his identity as much as anyone I know. He walks up to me now and I don't recognize him. He gets 2 feet from me before I'm like, who's this bald guy who's walking up to me all happy like he knows me?
Yeah.
And then I realize it's him and I feel weird. And I say, whoa, I didn't know it was you. And he's like, yeah. So with the business challenges and with now he's got no hair, how is Chris El Rubio Healy doing?
I think he's doing great. I think we both share a lot of the same feelings of the kind of post-Great Cut hangover.
Yeah,
and you got to get over that. And then it's back to business, and we're both very, very fired up. As far as his hair and the bald head, I mean, I haven't really talked specifically to any of the guys that shave their head.
Well, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know exactly what they're feeling. Just going through what I kind of went through, and I think it's probably is a way they're feeling as well. Is if you feel good, you feel excited, you feel like I get a break.
Yeah,
from the long hair.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of stuff. You're committed to growing it out. So that's not a thing you're dealing with. Oh, am I going to grow it out again? You're not.
I'm afraid if I ever did that, what I'd be left with would not be so swell. And me growing it back would be it would be a losing battle. I have fears. Maybe it'd be fine, or maybe it would just not. And then it's over.
Sure. I don't know. I guess that's something to be worried about. But I think I bet they feel good. They feel light. Chris specifically, I think he's probably likes having the new look.
He
Likes having the fresh.
He didn't seem scared about it at all.
With a shaved head too. He used to rock that. I mean, he would rock that or have like the high and tight, like a little bit on top. That was like his do for years.
Talk a little bit about how years you mean. Like how far back, for those who don't know, how far back do you really go with Chris?
So we were at Fresno State together 2004. So I was a freshman. I think he was a junior. Or a senior.
Something like that.
We didn't have a lot of time together at Fresno State. It was maybe a year and a half. It like depended what semester I started or whatever, you know. We had to like year and a half. Yeah, it all started in the fraternity. That's where we really established like our working kind of relationship. The
foundation.
We had a bond off the bat. We were like just, you know, athletes, just like hungry, wanted to make our organization better, like actually had passion and shit.
Yeah. Seriously.
So that's really where we, you know, started working on trying to make the fraternity better. One of our first projects was like just the recruitment, like what kind of guys are we going to get? Like, let's actually write down the type of guys we're going to go up and like try to recruit and stuff. Yeah. And that turned into like, we still use that with the long hairs, you know, like our referral cards and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's like where we came up with that first exercise we ever did together. And yeah, as we've like just gone through the business world and, you know, in the marketing agency, we learned a shit ton about communication and listening and delivering and, you know, being able to present and, you know, sell shit, and deliver on that. I know I just said that, but that is a very important part. 'Cause you can get money, but can you deliver?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. And you know, through that whole experience and going through all the shit we went through with the marketing agency, really just primed us up to be ready to do.
You started a marketing agency that you worked on together.
We've been in business now together for like 15 years. We've done the long hairs for like 10.
I know this stuff, but some of your new, we might have some new audience.
Yeah, totally. And you know, through all that and everything, coming back to the cut and the relook and the like where we're at as a business and all the stuff. I bet Chris feels super stoked right now, and just a new shot, a new chance.
Let's move on. We'll get Chris in here one of these days, and he'll tell us himself there. You went on the Shark Tank, obviously, and won. That's probably one of the more known things. How you hear from?
I can't talk about Shark Tank anymore.
No, we're not. I'm totally not, actually. But have you hear from Mark Cuban? Has he hit you up? You guys get together? You play golf?
Yeah,
or something?
we sent him the proclamation.
I know, but what's the proclamation?
At the Great Cut, the mayor sent in a proclamation that March 16th is the Long Hairs Day.
Said it on it in big calligraphy.
March 16th, 2024. We had that day, but
every year to me.
Relax. It's every year from now on. We're claiming that one. Go ahead.
Got
to claiming that one.
The mayor.
And I have no idea where that document is, and I hope it shows up. I don't know who has it. I don't know.
Well, that's something else.
That's a problem.
So, on stage at the Great Cut, right before Chris got his beautiful long hair cut off, you held the document, which is now missing, and I read it, and the crowd was screaming. They're yelling along with me. Yeah. This footage, when might we, the audience, get a chance to experience? Is there a big dream, a big vision for this footage? When is it coming?
Yeah, there's... It's a work in progress. We have footage. We got a lot of guys who shot stuff. It's really about putting them all together. I've reviewed all the footage we have, and it's good, but we don't have enough like interviews and stuff. This guy Clark was there. He got more interviews, more action of you on the stage, more.
Good job,
more
Clarky.
To put the story together, I think, and we might have to do some other interviews like this to supplement.
Good. I will license you this.
No guarantee.
Material.
There'll be some Great Cut video come out at some point. I'm not.
The big, maybe like it might be good to do a kind of a sizzle reel of the highlights. So bam, 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 like a 30-second or a 1-minute jobber. I could show it in here.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for more. Because there were some moments that were probably look really dramatic in a quick hitting. Everyone's hair coming off and the packness of the room and me screaming because I was screaming the mayor's proclamation and.
Well, I have a little. We have a little teaser already.
I want to put that into this here. Okay.
Okay.
We are going to take another break, and we'll be back with Lindsay Bartow in just a couple seconds. Have you ever eaten sauce? What kind of sauce? Great question. Tomato sauce, traditional marinara, obviously. But what about clam sauce? How about the juice found inside olive or pickle jars? Is that a sauce? I don't know. I wouldn't drink it. I wouldn't pour it in anything. But it's pretty much what the pickles and olives taste like. And where I'm going with this is I don't like pickles and olives. I don't eat them. I'm not interested in them. Pickled ginger, okay. If you secretly stick the pickles into my sandwich and I eat them unintentionally, then you trick me, you slick the pickle by me. But otherwise, not down with the pickles, not down with the olives. This is from the People Against Pickles and Olives and the Anti-Pickles and Olives Commission.
Slick the pickle by me. Yeah, this is great. It's great. It's great.
Okay. We are back with Lindsay Joe Bartow. We're spitballing now in this next segment around different aspects of the Great Cut, and looking forward to our podcast in the weeks to come. I'm going to drop a couple words on you. Tell me what this makes you think of. Chris Matthews.
Oh my gosh. Probably the most powerful participant at the Great Cut. Chris Matthews is a blind man. He traveled from far. I'm trying to remember
Minnesota,
where it kind of Minnesota.
I'm pretty sure it's Minnesota.
I had to dig there to kind of. Yeah. He put out a great video on his YouTube that goes through his journey all the way from when he took off to the end. But okay, he's been ultra hyped about this. He has just been one of the biggest advocates for the cause. He's been, posting about it and just all kinds of great ideas he's brought to the table to us and stuff. And he came out and just, I think, had probably one of the best experiences you could have as if everyone had the type of stoke he got.
Yeah. A lot of people did.
Just to actually make it clear how stoked he was, he left with the bound shears tatted on the front of his forearm. That was like at least 12 inches.
Yeah, it's huge.
From the gift certificate.
Cut his hair.
He won the Bearcat gift certificate in the raffle.
Okay.
And went over there and got tatted after with a shaved head. Another amazing.
Cut off all his hair, of course.
Yeah.
Or his girlfriend.
Yes.
She's lovely.
Which they're engaged now, I think.
What a life-changing thing for this Chris Matthews.
It's like a whole,
life-changing,
massive, impactful day to remember, weekend event experience he'll remember for the rest of his life.
I'll say. I wanted to run into him because I'd seen on the Facebook some of the different long hairs who were coming. So I was very interactive on the social media leading up to it. And so I was hoping, I figured I'd run into him. He's got the white cane, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And before I even entered, they were him and his girlfriend were standing outside. So I went up to him and I must have talked to him 8 or 10 times that day because, he just hung out the whole day and I was there all day emceeing, introducing the bands on the main stage, reading proclamations.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. He then got to come down to the headquarters and he showed you all the stuff he'd done to himself.
Yeah.
I saw some footage of that or something like that, right?
Yeah. It's up on the Instagram if you want to see the tat. It was still pretty fresh. So you can't really get a clean look of it, but he got the detailed version. It had the wrap on it still, so you couldn't really. But, we'll get some healed shots up there once that's all done. But that guy had to be one of the MVPs of the participant
Huge
group.
MVP-ness on that guy, I swear. really big MVP-ness.
You know what's funny about
him? And VIP-ness, too.
He drops so many little sly blind jokes.
Yeah. He was doing that to me in the Facebook still.
Okay,
Still got those coming.
It's
pretty funny.
really funny.
So, let's pivot from the Great Cut. The Great Cut and the long hairs are going to be central to the podcast. And obviously, we're not talking about hair ties or the serum. We're not talking about the conditioner and the shampoo, but you can check those all out at thelonghairs.us.
Yeah.
It's about community and connecting communication and personage. So, besides that, we want to add some lifestyle stuff. So, what is it, in your opinion? We're spitballing here. This segment's called Spitballing. Stuff men like, in the most general sense. In your opinion, we're going to list a few things and maybe discuss briefly the merits or non-merits of including them.
Okay.
Stuff men like. Go.
chicks.
Women. You
Okay,
and I are
women.
both married. Are we? Even chicks? Are we going to be discussing that a lot?
I don't really like the word chicks. It's a funny word, but
That's
you
fine,
know,
but
it's
I don't even like discussing women anymore very much because I'm married and it makes me uncomfortable. There was a party after the long hairs thing, and there was a lot of women there,
restart this segment
and they
here.
were dancing.
Let's restart this. We
No.
don't need to start with the chicks thing.
He didn't say chicks. He said dicks. It's fine. So he just misspoke. He was talking about dicks, not chicks. Well, you're right. Men like ladies, but we're not really going to talk about
the most
that.
generic thing.
What
What
else?
do guys like?
Of course
Women.
Of course that. You're right. But I'm not going to talk about that one because you can see how bad it goes off the rails. So we're going to not talk about that. What else? Now let's go to another one. What else do men like to talk about?
You know, by the time you're 30, you're probably either into golf, you're into like learning an instrument, or you're already like a total musician. You start spending money on some type of hobby. For me, it's like off-roading. Like
Yeah, and you're also into exercise and fitness.
You gotta be
got
into
that
your
going.
exercise, eating right. You know, if you like challenges, you're probably doing like races. You know, I do like the Spartan race deals. But running, half marathons, always good to get into those. You know, your like close group of guy friends, I think.
You have a good life. That's what I just
important.
learned. You have a
really
great life.
important. You got to have your tight unit of bros. I mean,
Sports? People still like sports?
Yeah, dude.
Gambling? I think gambling has taken over sports, and now people don't really like sports, but they love
hate
gambling.
how gambling has become such a part of all sports, though.
Oh, it is.
Everything's
It's bigger
like
than
the
sports.
ESPN bet, you know,
Everything.
DraftKings, like college basketball brought to you by DraftKings.
You know what no one's talking about, and we're not going to get into it too much because it's depressing? Gambling ruins lives.
Yeah.
They'll throw in and call 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a problem. It's like,
Yeah.
what if I can't afford a phone anymore because I lost all my money and my family and my life is ruined? And like, it's a down low moment, so we're not going to talk. We'll talk maybe a little about gambling, but I'll talk more about sports. I mean, I think all the stuff you said, even though I don't know much about any of it, is stuff we'll try to tie into what we're talking about. All right. Well, check this out. I'm going to give an ad. Ready? Ad. I want to thank Tony's Martini Bar in Ocean Beach for enabling the open mic community. Open mic is a place where musicians and other entertainers come to gather and mix and mingle. And I've had the pleasure, privilege, honor of hosting open mic in San Diego for over 20 years. Our current home is Tony's Martini Bar when they're Tuesdays. We're there Tuesdays from 7 to 10, but sometimes I start early, play some of my tunes. 7 to 10:30, come out, play a few tunes, sign our list, tell your friends. Also, in the same ad, one ad, two topics. I put out a new record yesterday, my third new record that I put out this year in 2024. This album's called Fly, in Spades. It's also about growing and being our best selves. It's my third record I put out this year, 24 Hours of Life, 24 Hours of Death, and Fly in Spades are all available for free or for a donation right now at jeffersonjay.bandcamp.com. And if you don't like it, maybe your mom will. Give my music to your mom. There's no way to know she won't like it if you don't give it to her. And if she's not around, just play the music in your room because she's always with you and she'll hear it. And she will rock out to my tunes from the beyond. Okay, that's a great ad. So I decided with the idea about having sports and stuff like that, and I want colorful characters. So I'm at Winston's the other night for the Electric Waste Band, their classic Monday night show. It's a night. Bless you.
Thank you.
It's a nightclub here in Ocean Beach. And there's this guy standing next to me. He's like, rah, 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 rah. That's how he talked. And I recognized right away that he was a Mass guy. And I named him in my mind Mass guy. He even had the Patriots, the Pats logo on his shirt.
What do you mean mask guy? Like
He's from Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I want him to be a regular guy on the show. He cleans pools. He's not available today. But he's a Mass guy, and I'm a New York, New Jersey guy. So we are going to naturally butt heads on almost every issue. I tried not to get into it with him at all because I just wanted to save it all for this. I didn't even want to know his name. I learned his name's Greg. I'm just going to call him Mass guy. And, we have kind of opposing viewpoints on a lot of things, as he's a Mass guy, Red Sox fan, 2003, 2004. He starts talking to me. So we'll get him in here, and he's going to be a real wild card. mask guy. I wish he could be here now because this is his segment. And
sports.
Yeah, talking sports and also you got to go. Talking sports and also me and him like knocking heads and seeing things differently. Maybe he'd make fun of my outfit and that might be funny.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So when it comes to sports, for me, NFL is really the one I follow the closest. Haven't really got into anything else in the last couple of years. There's no
You're
time.
running Ironmans. You have 3 children. You're running a business. You're driving trucks in like, don't you have like truck competitions or like off-road vehicles?
Adventure. Yeah, we go like rock crawling and overlanding.
Rock crawling?
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Oh yeah.
That seems safer than rock climbing?
It is because you're in a vehicle protected.
Oh, you're in a vehicle.
But
I thought you're just crawling over rocks like a lizard.
No, you're
That's
basically driving over rocks.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's fun.
Not like straight down a
It's a great
mountain
challenge for your driving skill. I think that's why I love it so much because I actually love driving. Lie about the sports thing. F1. I've got very into F1, but
what's F1? That's racing.
Formula One racing. Yes.
All right. Well, we'll have to bring in someone to talk to you about that. I am a traditionalist of sorts and sports. I like the baseball.
Yeah.
And yesterday I had the opportunity to go downtown for opening day and sing a song on the Padres flagship 97.3
Nice.
The Fan. With Elston and Annie and Elston, just leading up in the hours before the Padres' home victory over the Giants. I wrote this song for the event.
6-4.
Right, 6-4. That's right. So when I get older, that's the Beatles. So I wrote this song for it. It's called "Shilt Happens."
Okay.
I think I have it memorized. A lot of shilt happened to the Padres in 2023. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong. And that's what led to Bob Melvin, their manager, being canned and Mike Shildt taking over. So here's a little song I wrote, and I'm going to play it for you now, called "Shilt Happens." There's lots of fine teams that are battling, and some of them will not be pleased. The Dodgers spent $1 billion. D-backs went to the World Series. Yeah, we may not have Juan Soto or Snell, Hader, Lugo, Waka, Sanchez, but now we're kinda like a different tree with Jackson, Merrill, branches, and we'll be fighting for third place. We're swinging for the fences in a third place way. We'll be battling for third place. I hate to say this on opening day. We tossed our Melvin, now we got a Shildt. Oh, Shildt. Our baseball team is pretty darn well built. That A.J. Preller makes all the dope trades, and he's pretty cute too. I got Dylan Cease, now cease to be amazed. Thank A.J. kids, we'll be battling for third place. We're swinging for the fences in a third place way. We'll be fighting for third place. Third place ain't that bad, cause we know the Rockies won't have a say. Maybe we'll wind up in second. If Corbin Carroll gets a different job, maybe you'll find us in first place. If Ohtani gets clipped by the mob, maybe you'll find us in first place. And we'll take the whole darn thing from kickoff in Korea, not the Kim Jong-un one. We'll take that diamond ring, maybe you'll find us in first place. And the Padres will take it all, that's the beauty of opening day. That's the beauty of old baseball. Play ball! There it is, folks.
Phenomenal, dude.
There it is. Thank you.
That's phenomenal.
Appreciate that. Shildt happens, folks. I think.
Shildt.
Yeah.
How do you spell Shildt?
Shildt.
The D will get you. The D will get you.
Yeah. The L, too. You need them both. Otherwise, you're going to...
Shelved.
You said Shildt 50 times during this podcast. Anyway, I think I'm about ready to wrap a bow on this sucker. Any final thoughts, feelings, opinions, ideas, beliefs before we groove it and move it?
Just constantly work to get better, and your hair will follow.
Right? And growth comes from all sides. I let my son
The
Everett...
growth from within reflects from without.
Sweet. I think was that Beavis or Butthead who said that? I know one of them. I know that's a famous quote by one of those guys. I forget. My son said earlier to me today, before I took him to school, he was walking around singing Supersonic. And he's like, Dad, I really like that Supersonic song. Can we listen to that on the way to school? It's Supersonic. And there's spelling in that song. So he's just like, he's spelling random letters that aren't part of Supersonic. And it's Supersonic. So, folks, we just want you to have a supersonic day, week, month, year, hour, minute, second. Because if you're looking too far down the road, you don't see right in front of you. And this right here, now, is all we got and all that matters. The present is the present. So don't forget to open it and give it a kiss and smile and feel good. We love you. Yep. Love is real.
Great show.
And we'll see you next time on the podcast with Jefferson Jay, Long Hairs.
The Long Hairs present a great show. Always it was the podcast with Jefferson Jay. It was the podcast with Jefferson Jay.